guys. I know them well. I know they're going to have great information for you. We're going to start off with someone who has been a great networker for a long time, especially in this area. I think he was the first person who connected, I don't know, Jesus to Moses, maybe. Not kidding. He's not,
you're not that old.
He's not that old. Not quite.
No.
But put your hands together and help me welcome Joe Novara.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming today. So, question, show of hands, whose hand did I shake when you first came in tonight? Whose hand? Put your hands up. If I shook your hand, did I? Okay, look around and look at each other. That is the first step towards networking. When you shake somebody's hand, when you walk into an event, a networking event, that's the first steps that we do towards networking. Networking takes so many different avenues, but that is always the reaching out and saying hello to somebody, specifically a stranger, somebody you don't know. That's what we do to try and get to break out of our comfort zone. A lot of people don't like to say hello to somebody that they don't know. They'd rather go over and talk to people that they know and that they feel most comfortable with, people that are their friends. It's not the way to do it when we're going to a networking event. If we want to build our business, we have to allow ourselves to break out of our comfort zones and, again, talk to people that we don't know. Now, I've been in sales now for 20 years. If you want to count my newspaper out, you could probably bump it up to 30 years, but most of my sales have been in the printing area and in real estate. I sold real estate in downtown Brooklyn for several years, and when I was doing that, I was dealing with some of the dirtiest, meanest, nastiest salespeople you could ever come across. If you want to work out your sales chops, go sell real estate in downtown Brooklyn for a few months, and then come back and tell me how, that you'll be a much more seasoned person. And I think George knows what I'm talking about. It's so. Sometimes I'm one of those people that I can get kind of shy. I can be introverted. I want to be one of those people that's kind of out of the limelight. I don't want people focused on me. Especially if I'm at a networking event, I don't want to be as, when I walk into a networking event, sometimes it's like walking into, for me personally, it's like walking into a wall of fear. I walk into this room full of people that I don't know. And it just can sometimes be it could be a little overwhelming, it could be scary. I just want to stand off to the side. And I have to really push myself to step out of that place. When I go to a networking event, I know what I'm there for. I'm there to meet business owners and decision makers who can help me to grow my business. Those are my main reasons for being there. Several years ago, I was trying to land the Aveda account. And for anybody who doesn't know, Aveda is a beauty school. One of their main locations is here in Chapel Hill. And so one of their main locations is here in Chapel Hill, and so I wanted to get their printing. So I showed up there doing the cold call, which I don't particularly love doing cold calls, but I do them. So I get up to the counter, and there was the gatekeeper. She was kind of this goth-looking girl, and I just said with a big smile, I said, "Hi, I'm Joe, and I own Chapel Hill Printing, and I was wondering if I could talk to the person that is in charge of your printing here." And she just got nasty right away. "No!" She said, "No, she's not here right now." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'm sorry. Could you tell me her name?" And she says, "Her name is Karen." And I was okay, I'm sorry. And I was like really taken back because she really was very nasty. So I said, "Okay, well, here's my card. And if you could just ask Karen to give me a call, I'd really appreciate it." And I went off and just said, "Okay, I'm going to come back, and maybe that woman won't be there." So I came back about 2 weeks later, and lo and behold, I walked in, and there she was at the front counter again. So I said, "Okay, I'm going to pretend like we're old pals." So I just walk up to the counter again and I say, hey, remember me, Joe from Chapel Hill Printing, and I just wanted to see if Karen is available. No, Karen is not available. I was like, okay, when will she be? I don't know. So I said, okay. So over the next several months, I just for some reason continued to abuse myself. I went back time and time again. And it was always, Karen's not available, Karen's at lunch, Karen's in a meeting, Karen's climbing the Himalayas. There was always something, but for some reason I could not get in there to see Karen. Okay, fine. You don't want me to meet Karen, I get it. Well, they were doing a business after hours at Aveda for the Chamber of Commerce. So I said, oh, this is my opportunity. I'll go there and I'll get to meet Karen. So the night of the event comes and I go there and everybody there is wearing black t-shirts with white name tags. So I'm looking around, I said, okay, I know I'll be able to find Karen now. That's not Karen, that's not Karen, that's not... I mean, everybody I walked to, nobody was Karen. So after about, I'm going to say it was probably about a half an hour of doing this, I got a little disappointed and I said, okay, well, I can't spend my whole night looking for somebody who's not here. So I decided to go off and start meeting other folks and trying to, again, build my business. Well, at one point, the CFO gave a little presentation to everybody and, just letting us know the, the vision of Aveda and talking about the students. And so I said, okay, I'll go talk to him. And I was, he was clearly somebody, in my opinion, that was way out of my league financially. I mean, just way beyond. And also for any Monty Python fans, he looked like John Cleese. But so I went over and introduced myself to him, and I was very nervous. I was very nervous because, again, he was, it was kind of like, meeting Donald Trump. That's the way I felt, like I was meeting Donald Trump, and I just felt very scared and nervous. But I introduced myself and thanked him. I said, hi, Patrick, I'm Joe, and I thanked him for the event, told him that his staff was doing a wonderful job. And I asked him, after talking to him for a couple minutes, he asked about who I was. I told him who I was. And then I asked him, I said, Patrick, would you mind if I call you tomorrow? And maybe we can talk about doing some business together. And he just said, I'm not the person you want to talk to. And he said, why don't you follow me? So I followed Patrick, and he brought me over to this woman who was sitting all by herself off in no man's land, wearing a red sweater and blonde hair. And she was sitting there by herself, and he said, Joe, I'd like you to meet Karen. Karen, this is Joe. Joe's a local business owner, and he'd like to do business with us. And so, now, my gut reaction was to say, why haven't you called me back? But I chose not to do that. Yeah. Instead, I said, hi, Karen, it's really nice to meet you. And I could see the look of embarrassment on her face, because she knew that I had left her about 750 business cards over the past several months. Well, within 2 weeks, I was doing business with Aveda. Within 6 months, I was doing business with Aveda across the entire country. Wow. So my point of that story is that it was I went to the networking event. I went to that event to look for Karen. But then I had to honestly step out of my comfort zone and talk to somebody that I felt intimidated by. Now maybe other people don't get that way, but I do. And so sometimes I just find myself a little intimidated by certain people, and at that time, over time I've learned to be different, because you know what? We're all the same. So that brings me to another story that happened just recently.